UFC 321 ended in disappointing fashion as Tom Aspinall and Ciryl Gane ended in a no contest, leaving us without a winner. Today we'll be going through the entire UFC 321 card and going through all the winners and then talking about the main winners and what their next fight should be. I'm Zach Kendall. This is Inside the Cage. Let's get into it with the first fight that was on this pay-per-view card. Jacqueline Amorim went up against Mizuki. Picked Jacqueline Amorim. She just looked really impressive with her BJJ and her grappling, but this fight, she just couldn't land the takedowns. Mizuki really impressed me. She was coming in to this fight with one fight in the past 5 years, and that fight was 2 years ago, and she looked very impressive on the feet, and her takedown defense was really good. She actually stopped every single one of Amorim's takedowns, and she wasn't in danger throughout this entire fight. She kept it on the feet, and Mizuki was able to just pick her apart the entire fight to win those rounds. But very, very shocking outcome here. I thought for sure this was going to be a very big lock for me. I thought I was actually thinking about making her lock of the week. So thankfully I didn't because she did not look good at all. I thought she would because she was on a nice little streak, but she just got upset by Mizuki. Big win for Mizuki and for one of the Asian fighters because we don't really get a lot of big wins for the Asian fighters recently. Not hating on them, but it's just how it's been recently. So big win for Mizuki in her comeback fight, and we'll see who she gets next. But we will not be giving her her next fight because Jacqueline Amorim really isn't proving to be all that, especially after that performance. Next up, Azat Maxim went up against Mitch Raposo. Another fight where I thought it was going to be an easy lock. I thought Azat Maxim was going to be able to just take him down and bully him for 3 rounds. But somehow he did not land any takedowns against Raposo. Raposo was doing more damage on the feet, which was also crazy because Maxim normally throws more volume, and Raposo is known for throwing very little, but Raposo threw a lot more punches in this fight, which was the difference maker. So he was peppering Maxim a lot throughout this fight, but Maxim's not able to land any of the takedowns, and he even got a foul. I forget if it was a groin shot or an eye poke, but it resulted in Maxim getting a point taken, and it was in one of the later rounds, so it was obvious at this point that Raposo won because of the striking. So another huge upset because Azat Maxim looked really good against Tajir Alambekov, but then he just lost to Raposo 30-28, I'm pretty sure it was, or 30-26, yeah. So it was a huge win for Raposo that no one really saw coming. So big win for Mitch Raposo. He looked like he was about to get cut from the UFC, and then he just put off a big win over Azat Maxim. But I still don't think he's all that good. We will not be talking about his next fight. Oh, the people's main event, Hamdi Abdel-Wahab went up against Chris Barnett in potentially the funniest fight I've ever seen in my life. Hamdi Abdel-Wahab was able to wrestle Chris Barnett for all 3 rounds, dominating this fight. The funny parts were Chris Barnett not being able to keep his shorts up. This fat blob had to stuff his stomach into his shorts because his shorts kept falling down. And you saw his bare ass all over the freaking live stream. It was the funniest thing ever. Hamdi dominated. Chris Barnett literally couldn't land anything on the feet, and he couldn't stop a takedown. Literally, the first 10 seconds of the fight is Hamdi trying to drive Barnett through the cage. I genuinely thought the cage was going to break when Hamdi drove him into the fence. But no, Barnett fell right down. Barnett would do these random screams every time he'd get taken down. It was just so funny. But Hamdi gets a unanimous decision here. Very obvious pick here. Chris Barnett cannot stop a takedown to save his life, and he'll most likely be getting cut because this dude is just awful. Hamdi's not really that good either. His best wins are Chris Barnett and Jamal Pogues. So really not any good wins for him either, but somehow he got called out by someone. I don't know how someone calls out Hamdi. Walter Walker called him out, but I will not be picking Hamdi. Spoiler alert, I will not be picking Hamdi as Walter Walker's next opponent. We are not giving Hamdi a top 15 opponent for beating Chris Barnett. That is absurd. Walter Walker's needs to stop getting fed these bums. Moving up though. I thought this was honestly not a robbery, but I had it swinging the other way. I had Jose Delgado winning this fight. I picked him. I thought at the end of the fight, I thought he won it as well. But they gave it to Nathaniel Wood, and I'm really questioning why. I can't really give Wood 2 of these rounds at all. Delgado, I had winning the first round and the third round. I had the second round for Wood, so I thought it was 1-1 going into the third. But I don't really know how they gave it to Wood here. Delgado dropped Wood in the first round, so the first round was clearly Delgado. third round, I guess it was really close, so that's why they swayed it towards Wood. But the second round was also just as close. So for them to think both those rounds were for Wood, when I'm pretty sure Delgado landed more in both of them, that's kind of crazy to me. But I'm a big fan of Nathaniel Wood. I'm glad he got the win. It's a huge win for him. Jose Delgado is very dangerous, as we saw. He dropped Wood in the first round and unfortunately wasn't able to capitalize. And Wood even stunned him a few times throughout the fight. So don't get me wrong, it was a close fight, but I just had Delgado winning, so that was unfortunate. But Nathaniel Wood gets the unanimous decision win, and he'll be jumping up to a top 15 prospect soon. I forget if I gave him a top 15 prospect. I'll have to look back at my notes before we talk about it, but I might have given him a top 15 prospect because he's been looking good at bantamweight so far, despite him not being able to knock anyone out. Moving up, Walter Walker submitted Louis Sutherland. Very easy prediction here. First round heel hook. His fourth heel hook submission in a row in the first round. Absolutely insane. But at the same time, is it really that insane when he's fighting these fat people that have no skill whatsoever? Walter Walker's wins consist of Louis Sutherland. It's Louis Sutherland, Kennedy Nzechukwu, Dontel Mays, and Junior Tafa. So really, he doesn't have any impressive wins. They just keep feeding him to these, hands that are just awful in the heavyweight division. And this just shows you the lack of the lack of prospects in the heavyweight division because we can't find Walter Walker at any of them. I mean, if you want to call it Walker as a prospect, you can, I guess, even though he's already ranked. But Walker gets the easy submission. He called out Hamdi, like I said, but I'm not giving him Hamdi. Hamdi does not deserve that fight whatsoever. So I'll be giving Walter Walker someone else. We'll get into that later. Moving up, Ludovic Klein beats Mateusz Rebecki in a majority decision. Very entertaining fight. I gave this fight of the night for good reason. Ludovic Klein, and by the way, can I just talk about how I predicted this fight? Exactly how it went. I said Ludovic Klein was going to be able to pick him apart the first two rounds, but then Rebecki was going to make it very brutal in the third round to win that final round. But I said Klein was going to win the first two rounds very convincingly, with Rebecki still landing a few good shots. But then the third round, Rebecki was just going to throw everything into the tank, throw crazy shots, and win that final round, but not be enough for the finish. Perfect prediction by me. Picked Ludovic Klein. His accuracy was breaking Rebecki's face. Rebecki, like I said, he spams those hooks. That's all he throws and wasn't really hitting a whole lot, but every now and then he'd hit a nice punch on Klein. But Klein easily won the first two rounds due to his technical striking. And then the third round, Rebecki results to wrestling, and he takes Klein down, and Klein lands. He lands on his foot and breaks his foot in the third round, so he can't get up from this takedown. So all 5 minutes, it is just them trading elbows on the bottom on the ground, and it was so fun to watch. The entire mat got covered in blood. Both of their faces got destroyed, and it was honestly such a fun fight. I was worried that this was going to ruin the fight when they went down to the ground, but literally they traded elbows and they just cut each other open so easily. That is one of the sharpest parts of your body to cut someone open with. Like, that's way easier to cut someone open with than a punch. So they just got cut open so easy. Rebecki looked awful after his fight, but props to him. He had 2 wars back to back in a 2-month span. So he's easily becoming one of my favorite fighters in the entire UFC to watch because he always puts on an amazing performance. And Ludovic Klein, he has shown that he's a real deal. He just won that fight and he was able to survive the entire round with a broken foot and not being able to move. So huge win for Ludovic Klein. I'm going to give him a top 15 opponent after this one, but we'll get into that after. Moving up, Ikram Aliskerov, unanimous decision win over Jung Young Park. Park, I really think he has really bad fight IQ. I picked Ikram in this fight. I picked him to win by early knockout, though, and that was not the case. I thought in later rounds Park would have the advantage, but Park just decided to stand with Ikram the entire fight, and I don't know why. This was another very entertaining fight. Park would land nice volume against Ikram, but Ikram was definitely doing more damage. But yeah, I don't know why Park didn't really result to the wrestling all that much in this fight. Park has such good wrestling, but he never uses it, and that's why he always loses a lot of these fights with these strikers. Ikram is such a good striker, and you're not gonna be able to outstrike him unless you're Robert Whitaker on short notice. But Ikram was able to piece him apart for 3 rounds. There was one round where it looks like Park was able to pour it on for Aliskerov. It actually got a little bit dangerous, but I think Khabib got Ikram to kind of calm down a little bit after getting rocked, and Ikram made the adjustments. I think it was the second round. Ikram made the adjustments in the third round and was able to win convincingly. think it was 29-28 decision. I think Park swayed the second round towards like the middle of it, but Ikram gets the decision win. Huge win for him. Probably going to give him a top 15 opponent in his next fight because Jung Young Park is very hard to beat, and Ikram was able to do it. And Ikram's only losses to Whitaker. So moving up, a huge surprise for me. Odds didn't really make this surprising because surprisingly, this dude was the favorite. Quillan Salkilled knocked out Nasrat Hakparas with a potential KO of the year. He won Performance of the Night, not only from me, but also from the UFC. So he got a 50K bonus from Dana White. Sneaky head kick that just went right over the guard of Nasrat. Nasrat was doing very good with his defense, and I thought he was going to be able to, make his way through with that nice defense he always does and sneaking those high volume jabs in and those hooks because he was doing very good until he got caught. I thought he was winning the striking battle for the short fight that it was. It was only 2 minutes and 30 seconds, so it wasn't a very long fight. But from what the first 2 minutes and 15 seconds showed me, Nasrat was winning the striking battle. It looked like he was going to piece up Salkilled really badly because Salkilled could not really land anything. Salkilled was throwing these body kicks, and it was trying to get Nasrat to kind of get used to it, so that way he would stop guarding his head. And once he stopped guarding his head, Salkilled snuck in a right head kick, snuck right past the guard, dropped Nasrat out cold. He fell down like a statue, and it was absolutely an insane highlight. It's definitely going to be up there for knockout of the year. Unfortunately, Mauricio Ruffy's knockout over Bobby Green will probably win it, but there's so many knockouts this year that deserve it. So this is going to be a very hard year for who actually deserves it. But Quinlan Salkilled just put his name in there, and I think we give him the prospect hype. He's 3-0 in the UFC, and he just beat one of the best unranked lightweights in the entire division. So I'd label Quinlan Salkilled as a prospect, and I think we should push him because Nasrat has looked so good against all these guys in the unranked division, and he's been beating all of them. He beat Esteban Rivovics and Jared Gordon, which is very good for him. So good win for Quinlan Salkilled and his career. Moving up to the main card, Alexander Rakic. We picked him. We thought this was a sneaky pick. He was an underdog. He had a huge height and reach advantage. I thought he was going to keep the distance way better, but he was not doing the same thing he did against Yuri Prochazka. And I said in our predictions episode, he needs to keep the range exactly like he did against Yuri. He was using those kicks to really damage that front leg, which Azamat keeps his front leg out very far. So we said Rakic needed to really damage that leg, so he couldn't do that running bull charge he does where he just throws a bunch of punches. Rakic wasn't throwing kicks to damage the leg, and Azamat took advantage of it. Azamat kept rushing in, trying to land the knockout punch. Rakic, he missed the first few barrages that Azamat threw, but then it was only a matter of time. Rakic didn't damage the leg or keep the range, and Azamat Mirzakhanov went out there and got the knockout. I was thinking about giving him the Performance of the Night, but I looked back on it. Rakic is on a 4-fight losing streak now, and he's not really making a good case that he's good. Even though he did have a close fight with Prochazka and Ankalaev, he just can't win any of these fights. So I couldn't give it to him. Plus, Quinlan Salkilled will go for KO of the year. This one won't. This one was just rushing in and getting the clean punch. But Azamat Mirzakhanov continues to rise up the rankings. He will now be ranked number 7 in the division. So he's continuing to rise, and expect him to get a very, very entertaining matchup in his next fight. Next up, Alexander Volkov went up against Jailton Almeida and got the controversial split decision. A lot of people are saying this was a robbery, but this is just correct judging from the UFC judges. You can't say that Almeida won this fight when he was just taking down Volkov but not doing any damage. Volkov he did way more damage in this fight, and that's why he won this fight. Stand up, Volkov was winning. Almeida just kept taking him down, but Almeida laid there and did nothing. You can't do nothing with your control time and expect a decision. And that's what Dana White said in the post-fight press conference when people asked about if he thought it was controversial or not. It's not controversial if you're not doing anything with your takedowns. That's why I kind of agree with Corey Sandhagen and with Merab. Merab will take you down, get back up, take you down again, let you back up, take you back down. Like, he's better watch out, because if a fighter beats him on the feet, it's going to be very hard for people to actually pick Merab to win his title fights like that. So anyway, Volkov won on the feet. Almeida wasn't doing anything on the ground. Volkov landed nice elbows. He reversed a few of the times. He reversed the takedown, and he actually got top position and was landing some nice elbows on Almeida. So he ended up winning as an underdog. We picked Volkov as a plus, I think he was plus 185. So he was a nice underdog pick for us, thankfully, because we did not have a good night, but that was a nice underdog pick by us again. Um, let's see, did we get any other underdogs on this card? Probably not, honestly. Yeah, Hondi was a huge favorite. I don't think we got any other. Yeah, we tried picking Nasrat. No, we picked Rakic and Rakic lost. Yeah, so we didn't get any other underdog picks. This was our only one. But this was a good pick by us regardless. So big win for Alexander Volkov after that robbery from Ciryl Gane. So we'll see what Volkov's next fight is, and we will be talking about it shortly. The featured main card fight, Umar Nurmagomedov went up against Mario Bautista. Excuse me. And this was one of Umar's closest fights he's ever had. Bautista, we knew his stand-up was really good. Umar tried standing with him for as long as he could. He did end up getting dropped in the second round to a knee. The knee clipped the chin of Umar. Umar got dropped. But I don't know what it is with Dagestanians. They just recover so well. Umar got dropped by the knee. He instantly got back up. He landed on all fours, and then he just pounced back up and acted like he never even got dropped. I don't get how they do it, but they just they go into security mode as soon as they get dropped from something. Like Khabib had it. Hamzat has it. Like all of them have it. I know Hamzat's Chechnyan, but you know what I mean. But yeah, Bautista was doing very good striking. Umar was making it competitive nonetheless. Umar actually landed some nice strikes on Bautista and caught him a few times. But I'd say for the most part, Bautista did win the fight on the stand-up. But Umar was landing very clean takedowns. I think he had 8 takedowns this fight. He did damage on the ground, which was the difference maker from him and Almeida. And I'm pretty sure Jailton Almeida actually got cut. I don't know if it's official yet or not. I'm pretty sure his coaches announced that he did. His coaches either left or he got cut, but I'm pretty positive he got cut. A lot of people have been saying that, and it makes perfect sense, honestly. A lot of people were saying they should cut him and bring back Muhammad Mokaev, which I completely agree with. But besides the point, Umar gets a big win over Mario Bautista. Bautista held his own, and I still think he should get an entertaining fight. But Umar gets back in the win column, and he should be getting a number 1 contenders fight next. So big win for Umar Nurmagomedov and the Khabib corner. The Khabib corner went 2-0 on the day with Umar and Ikram Aliskerov. The co-main, Mackenzie Dern, which was the tiebreaker for me and AJ MMA. We originally only had 2 different picks, but then we wanted to do a tiebreaker. So he switched to Mackenzie Dern, so that's how he ended up winning. Dern looks so good on the feet. I thought Verno was really going to be able to dominate with the grappling. I thought her BJJ was a lot better since they fought the first time, but she wasn't able to. She would take down Mackenzie Dern a few times, but she didn't really do a whole lot with it. And Mackenzie Dern did just way more volume on the feet. I knew Dern was better stand-up, but I just thought the takedowns and the level of grappling that Janaroba has, I thought her BJJ was better than Dern's, even though Dern still has really good BJJ. But Dern was able to stop a lot of the takedowns, and Janaroba, I don't think, shot as much as she should have. But Dern was able to win on the feet. She busted up Janaroba pretty badly, especially in the later rounds. And Dern just kept throwing the entire fight. Janaroba slowed down in the later rounds. And Dern is showing that she has a really good gas tank. Do I still think she could have beat Zhang Weili for the belt? Absolutely not. Did I think she deserved it before? No. I still don't think she deserves it now. But big win for Mackenzie Dern. We have another U.S. champion. But I don't know. I think she'll probably start off like the main card of the White House if they try putting her on it. I think they should, because we should want all of our United States champions on the card. But yeah, big win for Mackenzie Dern. Unanimous decision over a very tough Werner Jandiroba. So big win for Mackenzie and for United States. Finally, the main card, or the main event, excuse me. Tom Aspinall versus Ciryl Gane. Look how fast you guys switched up. I can't. It is so annoying. Out of nowhere, all the Ciryl Gane fans and John Jones fans, after this outcome, they all decided to go on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok, and they started saying that Gane is going to destroy Aspinall. Why are we acting like it was not a close fight? It was 30-27 significant strikes. Gane had 3 more significant strikes, and in that last 1 to 2 minutes, Aspinall was doing better on the feet than Gane. Gane was doing very good early on. until he started making Aspinall bleed from a shot that wasn't even a clean shot. Now, don't get me wrong, it wasn't illegal, but he missed his punch and he hit him on the side of the arm. It was the bone that actually hit Aspinall's nose, and that's what made him start bleeding. It wasn't even like he actually meant to do that. So that's how he made Aspinall start bleeding. And once everyone saw Aspinall start bleeding, they thought, oh, Gane's destroying him. Guys, Aspinall was doing better in the striking the last 2 minutes of the fight. I don't know why everyone starts thinking that Aspinall sucks now all of a sudden. I understand why the UFC is going against him because him and his dad said that they're going to go to boxing potentially. So I can understand why all the UFC, Dana White and DC and all of them are saying that, it's not a good look for Aspinall that he didn't continue the fight. DC, you literally lost your fight to Stipe because you got eye poked. I don't want to hear it. And then you eye poked Stipe. You eye poked Stipe in the first fight, and that's how you won. And then you got eye poked in the second fight, and you lost. I don't want to hear from DC. Let's see. Anthony Smith. We've seen you go on all fours like a little bitch, and you got knocked out by Mingyang Zhang very badly in your retirement fight. So happy retirement, buddy. You quit. Let's see. Chael Sonnen. Oh, yeah. He knows a lot about title fights. So I don't know why he's saying, oh, you just got to go out there and fight. Chael Sonnen's never even held the belt before, so I don't know why he thinks he knows what it's like to get, hit by an illegal strike as a champion. So Chael Sonnen has no room to talk whatsoever. So, and I also remember a time where he took a fight against Sean Jones, said he knew he wasn't going to win, and then he went out like a bitch. So, don't know what he's going on either, but they literally are just so stupid, and it annoys me when they're saying all this stuff and they're switching up on Tom when they've been calling him the baddest man on the planet for a while now. Like, he's been called the best man on the planet since Francis left, and now all of a sudden they're switching up and they're saying, oh, well, I don't know, Ciryl Gane might do it, man. Don't get me wrong. Ciryl Gane looked very good, and Tom Aspinall is to the point where he's having a bad fight if the fight goes past 2 minutes, which just shows you how good Aspinall is. If you're saying he's having a bad fight after 2 minutes just because Gane survived those 2 minutes, that's absolutely insane. That shows you how amazing he is. But Gane was doing very good at circling the cage, I will say. Aspinall was trying to do these he'd do like a 1-2-1 kind of barrage to rush in, and Gane would just circle the cage. So Gane was doing very well of avoiding shots. Don't get me wrong. But Aspinall was finally finding it. He was able to land those strikes before he was able to circle, and he was doing better at the end of the round. I think he probably would have swayed it. I know they only have like 25 seconds left in the round, but he could have potentially swayed it. You never know, because it was a very close round. And that's what people need to understand. One close round makes Tom Aspinall suck all of a sudden, apparently. But unfortunately, Tom Aspinall got eye poked. Some people were saying Tom was faking it. I don't know why he would. Because the one finger went very deep into his eye. His left eye got poked very deep, and then his right eye, Gane's finger landed right above his eye, and then it swiped down and scratched his right eye. So he got hit in both eyes, but it was really the right eye that he was covering, so the one that got scratched. But unfortunately, after it was the 4 minutes, because he kept saying he couldn't see. Unfortunately, it got stopped, which is a horrible way to go. That's what really made this pay-per-view the worst of the year. It's unfortunate, but we will be seeing this rematch. I'm not going to go too heavily into their next fight because, one, we didn't get a winner, and two, we obviously know that they're going to fight each other in the rematch. Kind of hoping they put it on the December pay-per-view because that would be an amazing way to end off your ESPN collab with the UFC. Having Tom and Ciryl Gane main event, have Marab and Jan too as a co-main, and then have Pantoja versus Van as the third fight. 3 title fights on the final ESPN card sounds such a good opportunity for them. But unfortunately, it sounds like it'll more so be on the first Paramount card, which is also a good idea. Because then you can have Aspinall and Taporia on the same card, which is huge for them because that's 2 of their biggest stars. And I think Aspinall and Gane's going to become a sneaky rivalry. I know Gane's very respectful, but I think Aspinall's going to start talking smack. Maybe not to Gane, but more so to the fans, because the fans kind of abandoned him. They started booing him in the crowd for no reason. They were cheering for him all before the fight, and then they started booing him and switching up on him, which was so stupid in my opinion. But yeah, that's the matchup to make for them, obviously. I'm still going with Tom. I don't care if he had one close round. And people are questioning what it's going to look like in the later rounds. You guys are acting like Aspinall hasn't been training for a 5-round fight. He's not training for a 1-round fight. He's still training for all 5 rounds. So I'm sure Aspinall's gonna look the exact same, at least for the first 3 rounds. So I'm still gonna go with Aspinall in the rematch. I'm not switching it at all, unless if like he gets hurt or something, or I hear something crazy that makes me switch it. But for the most part, I'm not gonna switch it. But overall, I'd give the card probably like a 6 out of 10. It was not that good of a card, unfortunately. The name value was there, but it just did not go the way we thought it was gonna go. But now, talking about the winners of the card and talking about their next fights. Starting off with Mackenzie Dern getting a championship win over Verna Jandiroba. I'd give her Zhang Wei Li. I think Zhang Wei Li, despite whether she beats Shevchenko or not, I think she will move back down eventually. There's not really any known number one contender right now in this strawweight division, so I don't think anyone's really deserving of it right now. So I was just thinking, like, if Shevchenko beats Zhang Weili, I think Weili just comes back down and takes her belt real quick from Mackenzie Dern. Probably knocks out Mackenzie Dern in the first round just to show that she owns this division. But if that fight happens, I'm going all in on Zhang Weili because I do not think Mackenzie Dern will be able to stop Zhang Weili's offense. And Dern gets hit a lot. Her defense is awful on the feet. But that's why I'd give Mackenzie Dern. Unfortunately, I don't really see anyone else getting the title shot next. Moving down, Umar Nurmagomedov getting his win over Mario Bautista. I wanted to give him a number one contenders fight. I made this fight earlier after the person he's projected to fight. This fighter won earlier. I think it was like last week or 2 weeks ago, but Davison Figueiredo. I think Umar versus Davison Figueiredo is the fight to make. Umar just beat a crafty young guy in Mario Bautista, who's a very good stand-up. Davison Figueiredo just beat Montel Jackson, who's this very hyped prospect. Um, so both of them are coming off big wins against younger guys, and I think this is a very good matchup. They both have very similar styles. Davison's just older than Umar, so that's gonna play a factor. I think Umar is also faster and throws more, so I think Umar does win that fight against Figueiredo. But if it does go to the ground, I think we're gonna see, some interesting grappling. I think Figueiredo would surprise a little bit of people, but I think that would be a nice number one contenders fight. Figueiredo's only lost to Peter Yan and Sandhagen since moving up to bantamweight, so he's looked good. I mean, he beat Cheeto Vera, and now he's beating Montel Jackson, and then he beat Rob Font as well. So he's beating a few good guys, and I think he should fight someone like Umar if they want to get Figueiredo one last title opportunity. This is the way to do it. He just beat a young guy. Let's give him a shot against Umar. I do think Umar wins that fight, though. Unfortunately, it's just, well, I don't know, because Umar was gassed at the end of that Bautista fight. Like it was so hard to understand what he was saying because he was so gassed. Um, so maybe Figueiredo gasses him out early and then wins the later rounds. But that's the fight I make next. I think that'd be a very interesting fight to see Umar go up against a crafty veteran like Figueiredo. Plus, I would love to see Figueiredo back in title contention. Moving down, Alexander Volkov beats Jailton Almeida by split decision. I want to give Volkov a pretty fun fight. It was very hard because the heavyweight division is kind of weird right now, but I say run it back with Sergey Pavlovich. I know that first fight was pretty boring because Pavlovich wasn't throwing, but Pavlovich just beat Cortez Acosta. I don't think if D'Elia beats Cortez Acosta, I don't think he deserves a title shot or he deserves Volkov. And I don't think that if Cortez Acosta wins, I don't think he deserves Volkov. So I went with Volkov versus Pavlovich 2. I think that'd be, they have beef now. They were friends at the beginning of the first fight. They turned into enemies at the end after Pavlovich pushed him away when he tried to console him after his loss. So I think there's a little bit of rivalry between them now, and I think it'd be good. Two Russians going at it. I think that'd be a fun card. You could even do it in Russia if you wanted to, but I think that'd be a very entertaining fight to watch. You could make that the main event of a fight night in Russia if they wanted to do that. But could be Volkov versus Pavlovich in the rematch. Final fight we'll talk about on the main card is Azamat Murzakanov. He got his quick knockout over Alexander Rikic, and I want to give him the winner of Jan Blachowicz and uh, Guskov. Why am I Bogdan Guskov? Jeez, I forgot what his name was. Holy crap. Caillou. He looks like Caillou. The reason I'm doing this is because I think Bogdan Guskov is gonna beat Jan Blachowicz. Blachowicz is getting really old. He's 42 years old now, and he did not have a good last performance, which was I think a year or two ago. So give us Murzakanov versus Bogdan Guskov and see which one is the real next contender. Guskov, if he wins, he'll be like 7th ranked or 6th ranked. He'll be somewhere up there. But we'll have a 6 versus 7 matchup and make that the co-main of fight night, or make that the main or the featured fight on the main card. That'd be such an entertaining fight. I honestly don't know who I'd pick. I'd probably lean towards Murzakanov. If I'm being honest, his punch power is just shown to be so lethal. But Guskov is no joke either. He's got some crazy power as well. So we'll just see which one's the next up and comer for the belt. But it's good that we have these two guys rising in the light heavyweight division, because honestly, the light heavyweight division is starting to slowly become a really good division. I think people are really sleeping on this division, and it's solely because of Murzakanov and Bogdan Guskov. So give me that fight. Uh, and if somehow Blachowicz wins, I think Azamat's going to piece him up and knock him out in the first round. So nothing really to talk about there. But give me Azamat Murzakanov versus Bogdan Guskov, hopefully. Next up, Quinlan Salkeld got his quick highlight KO against Nasrat Haqparast. I want to give him a step up. Give him Renato Moicano. Moicano's on a 2-fight losing streak. One was to Islam Makhachev, so that's, understandable, and it was on short notice. But I really think Renato is not all that. He hasn't really beaten anyone too crazy. I know he beat Beneil Dariush, but Dariush is hit or miss. Give Quinlan Salkeld the step up. He just beat one of the best unranked guys. He deserves a ranked opportunity, and I didn't want to give him Grant Dawson. I just feel like that's not a fight that I'd want to see. I think Salkeld will just knock him out. I'd rather see Salkeld get tested against another good striker who also has a bit of grappling. So give me Quinlan Salkeld versus Renato Moicano. I think that's a very entertaining fight that would really attract the crowd and the UFC fans. And honestly, I might pick Salkeld to win that fight. Salkeld really impressed me with his accuracy with that head kick. I don't know. Renato Moicano is also very hard to put away. So very hard fight to choose between, but give me Renato Moicano over Salkeld. Renato Moicano, I think, is ranked number 11. So Salkeld could jump in a pretty good ranking position if he beats Renato Moicano, but that's why I'd give him. Next up, Ikram Aliskerov beat Jin Young Park. Very good decision win for Ikram Aliskerov. I think he deserves a ranked opponent. Give him Roman Dolidze. Dolidze is a very good wrestler. Kind of like Jim Young Park, where he's a good wrestler, but I think he's worse on the feet than Park. So I think Ikram would be able to piece him up on the feet. I think he'd be able to get that highlight KO over Roman in the first round. I think Roman gets hit very easily, and he gets cut open easily as well. So as long as Ikram can do a lot of damage in the earlier rounds of that fight, Ikram should be able to beat Roman Dolidze. Dolidze is, I think, ranked like 12 through 14. So it would just barely get Ikram into the rankings, but it'd be a good start for him to finally make his way into the rankings. And then if you want to give him a huge step up to like number 6 or 7 or 8, you could do that with Ikram, because he probably has a chance to beat them. So give me Ikram Aliskerov versus Roman Dolidze. I think Dolidze is kind of on his way out after that mauling by Anthony Hernandez. Moving down, Ludovit Klein gets that great win over Mateusz Rebecki. Rebecki's very hard to put away in the lightweight division, and Klein won the first 2 rounds very single-handedly. So give me Ludovit Klein versus Mauricio Ruffi. I think that is such a fun fight. When I made that fight, I thought that was the perfect fight to make. Mauricio Ruffi's looking for a comeback win after getting beat, honestly, pretty convincingly by Benoit Saint Denis, and Klein deserves a step up. He's had countless wars with people, and I think this is a very good step up. Both of them are very good kickboxers. Mauricio Ruffi's more of a unique style, but Klein's very technical, and you've seen his style before, where he just wants to land accurate shots. Mauricio Ruffi throws more wild shots that might not land as accurate, but they do some freaking damage if they land. So give me Ludovit Klein versus Mauricio Ruffi. I think that is the perfect fight to make. Ruffi is ranked number 15, so if Klein wins, he gets in the rankings. And if Ruffi wins, he's back into the win column, and then he can try and go back to working his way up the rankings. But give me that fight next for them. I think that's a phenomenal fight to make. Moving on, Vulture Walker submitted Louis Sutherland with his 4th heel hook submission, in a row. I want to give him Marcin Tybura. No, Marcin Tybura has a fight coming up. I was originally going to pick Marcin Tybura because I remember MMA Guru talking about it. But Marcin Tybura has a fight coming up, so I did change mine. I forgot. Give me Vulture Walker versus Tai Tuivasa. Tuivasa did say he wanted to come back. I think he's already training to come back. So Walker can come in pretty early. He got that submission in a minute, so he can come back very quickly. So if Tai Tuivasa is ready, you know, a month or two from now, Walker can still get on that and fight him. But I don't know. Tai Tuivasa's on a 4-fight losing streak, but this would be his easiest fight out of since his last 4. I think Tai obviously has the better striking power on the feet, and he has better accuracy on the feet. But Walker has that sneaky submission. So if Tai can stop the takedowns and avoid getting his leg grabbed by Walker, he'll be able to get the knockout against Walker. But if Walker grabs a hold of Tai Tuivasa's leg, it's gonna be another victim for Walker. But with how dangerous Walker has shown this leg lock to be, all he has to do is he has to make them roll, or he's gonna break it. Literally, they have no way of getting out of it. Either they're gonna try rolling and then he locks it in tighter, or he's just gonna slowly lock it in while they're sitting straight up. So Walker is just so good at locking in these different kinds of heel hooks. So I think he'd get it over Tai Tuivasa, but Tuivasa wants to come back, so give him Walter Walker. I mean, Walter Walker has no stand up, so Tuivasa should be able to get the quick knockout, but Walker has shown that he's so dangerous on the ground, so I'd probably still pick him to submit Tuivasa. All right. And then the final fight we're going to talk about is Nathaniel Wood's controversial win over Jose Delgado. I think his next fight should be against Mel Quisel Costa. Mizel Quisel Costa. His name is so hard to say. He's Brazilian, of course. He's undefeated in the UFC. He beat my boy Julian Erosa, unfortunately, but he's shown to be one of the best unranked guys in the featherweight division. And whoever wins that fight, you just push them like crazy. Costa is shown to be very balanced, as well as Nathaniel Wood. I'd probably give it to Costa just because Costa's a freaking animal on the ground as well. Wood's very fun to watch, though, and I would cheer for him all the way until he gets a title fight. That's how big of a fan I am of Nathaniel Wood, but he's lost his knockout power, so it's so hard to pick him in some of these fights. But he still has very good volume. But I think he'd lose to Costa most likely. It'd be a very close fight, though, because Wood always makes his fights close. Like, I think his last 4 fights in the featherweight division have been very close, but it'd be another entertaining fight that you can put on the prelims of a pay-per-view, or you can put him on the main card of a fight night. That'd be a very entertaining fight. I lead towards Costa right now, but you never know. I'd have to go back and watch a few of Costa's stand-up fights, but I'd pick Costa as of right now. But with that being said, we're going to end off this episode of our fight night review, or excuse me, our pay-per-view review. We'll be going over our fight night predictions on Thursday. Very entertaining card. I think it's a little bit underrated. I think all fight night cards are underrated, honestly, because name value is never there, but they always have sneaky good fights. I think Steve Garcia versus David Onama. Honestly, I'm glad it's the main event. I'm happy for both of them. I love watching both of them, but I think it's a sneaky good fight as well. I'm cheering for David Onama, but I don't know if that's who I'm going to pick. So, with that being said, our episode predictions will be coming out on Thursday. We will be doing a poll on Instagram of what our next bonus episode should be. I want to do a bonus episode soon because I got a few good ideas I want to talk about. But with that being said, I want to thank you guys for listening to this episode, and we'll see you guys next time for our predictions.